Three brave amigos are we.
Welcome back to the Celebrating the final segment of today's Price of Business. You know that music. That music indicates it's too late for you to change the channel, even though you probably wish you had during the last break, because it's the 3 a.m. Egos. Featuring Sigmund Kramer, whatever the heck he is, and Dan Shedd, intern, we're told, and yours truly, your host, your loyal host, who's delighted to be with you to talk to you about what's happening out there. And as always, we put Dan on a very special assignment, which was to find interesting and entertaining and to go to links to make sure it's not useful information for us to talk about.
That's absolutely right.
And he has done that again. I'm not sure how entertaining it is. I'm going to let Sigmund and him sort that out. But we're going to hear what he's got for us today. Dan, what do you have for us? And by the way, you'll be able to find this article. An article about this over at my favorite site, or one of my favorite sites, priceofbusiness.com. And of course, I love my other favorite site, which is usdatareview.com. And since I'm a crass commercial capitalist, I'm going to promote both of them whenever I can. Dan Shedd, how are you today?
I'm doing great, guys. How are y'all?
We're doing excellent.
He said y'all.
Y'all. Where are you from, Texas?
Yep.
All right. What do you got for us, Texas?
Well, some police in Tustin, California got a call the other day that an emu, yes, an emu was on the loose. Perfect timing.
Yeah, that's the sound of the emu on the loose right there. The emu, the roar of the emu.
Yeah, it even made it into Yahoo News UK.
Yahoo!
The UK edition of Yahoo.
Wow! It went international.
Yeah, this is really big news. So tell us about why in the world did you think this was interesting?
Because, I mean, how many times do you hear of an emu trying to, walk around, wherever? I mean, how many times do you, see an emu just walking around the place with no care?
Well, let me just tell you this. For those of you out there who don't know what an emu is, it's like an ostrich.
But ugly.
And they come, I believe, from like New Zealand or Australia or something, don't they?
Yes. An emu is a flightless Australian bird.
There you go.
They are related, too, by the way, to ostriches.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're both swift-footed birds with buns of feather hitched high, alluring outfits to show off their slender legs and necks.
I'm not even going to ask what website you're visiting to get that, but I will.
It's called kinkybirds.com.
Emu fancy.
No, it's called wonkonthewildlife.com.
Wonk
on
of course.
the line. Yeah, when you go to it, Lou Reed is singing
yeah,
there.
hey, babe.
The great late
Take a
Lou
wonk
Reed.
on the wildlife.
On the wildlife.
So Dan, did they put the emu out of its misery?
No, he actually was put into a pen with two other emus because in Orange County, California, it is legal to own emus within the proper zone.
Wait a minute, this emu was property of someone?
I guess so.
Yeah.
The article just says that the officers were able to... I'm sorry, not officers. Neighbors were able to safely corral the bird and put it into a pen with two other emus. So he made new friends, apparently.
Oh, so he wasn't an emo emu. He was not antisocial. He was. When I lived in California, I used to pass by ostrich farms all the time.
Yeah.
And can I just tell you what they use these emus for?
Sure.
It's not to ride around on. It's not for the rodeo. Folks, they eat them. They eat them.
Yeah, it's fine meat, actually.
And ostrich meat, emu meat, I guess it tastes similar. They eat them. And so this is somebody's livestock.
Yeah. On the conservation status, they are least concern. In other words, there's plenty of them.
them.
Yeah. You know why, right?
Go on and kill them.
You know why, right?
Why?
It's the same reason why chickens are among the least concerned, yet also the most widely eaten food in the United States. It's because they're both owned. That which is owned is taken care of. Private property.
Yes.
So we're having an economic lesson, boys and girls. That which is owned is taken care of, regardless of how widely, no matter how vast your utilitarian value, because chicken utility value is off the chart. Because of the fact that we eat them, they have value, and therefore they're owned,
okay,
and we make sure that they're around forever and ever.
Now,
Meanwhile, in Ethiopia, you know what the fastest running creature is in Ethiopia?
What?
The chicken, because it's not owned, but boy, everyone sure wants to get their hands on one.
Well, I'm going to take you to task a little bit because we eat seafood, but there's plenty of seafood out there that is being fished out of existence.
Right.
So, I mean,
and it's because it's hard to own.
Right. I was going to say, how do you own the sea?
Right.
They try as best they can, but yeah, you're right, because if you want salmon or catfish or tilapia or anything like that, you can get farm raised rather than fresh caught.
Which, I don't know. Whenever I stick a fork in it, it goes. It's just not the same.
Oh man,
not the same.
But yeah, you're right. If you own something, you pride in ownership, right? You're going to take care of it. You tend to. I mean, that's not always the case,
right?
Because otherwise they wouldn't have an HOA,
right?
But yeah. I can see that.
I just thought that's where all the Nazis went after World War II.
After World War II, they went to Argentina and to suburban HOAs.
Yeah, that makes perfect sense to me.
Absolutely.
So same thing with like trees. Trees are interesting because 60% of all trees that are out there being grown, 60% of them are being grown for the purpose of making paper products. So what happens to trees if we figure out how to stop making paper products because we don't want to hurt trees? It actually will be devastating on trees.
Maybe.
No, it will be. Because the reason they're being raised is because there's an economic value to them. The vast majority of those trees out there have economic value.
Well, I will say, though, it's sad because the paper industry and the furniture industry, because of them, you don't see the huge, majestic trees of days bygone. You don't see the huge majestic trees in much of the country that existed a few hundred years ago. Yep. So because they grow them for X number of years and then they cut them down. They grow them from X number of years and then they cut them down, and they never get to that. That's why, Kevin, have you noticed that furniture, even made in the United States, it says it's real wood. It's usually laminated pieces.
Particle board?
Well, it's usually laminated pieces that are put together, so it may be real wood, but instead of getting this long, broad, huge, beautiful plank, now you've got thin strips that are glued together. So they can still say it's real wood, but it's just not the same.
Yeah.
So I understand where you're coming from with, if you own it, you take care of it, but still there's something to be said for maybe just leaving certain areas alone. That's, that's one reason I consider myself a conservative, and part of that is to conserve what we hold dear. And I think that the forests are one of those things that we should hold dear.
Yeah, but you see, by the way, Dan Shedd, are you still there?
Yes, I am. I'm listening to you.
What do you think about all this?
Well, emu sounds pretty cool.
He's back to the emu.
30 miles per hour.
30 miles per hour, wow.
I noticed that female ostriches are better. I mean, male ostriches are better looking than female ostriches, just like male lions are better looking than female lions. Are male emus better looking than female emus? Do you guys know? They tend to be more beautiful.
In the animal kingdom, the male bird is the one that typically has to show off, so it tends to have more colorful plumage, and it tends to be more attractive.
You don't know, though, about emus, do you? You don't know.
I think they probably are both kind of, homely.
Yeah, they look pretty bad to me. I can't really tell. These photos, they're not, they haven't found its good side.
They always look dirty to me for some reason. Ostriches and emus never look clean, and maybe it's just because they're not.
Yeah, do you know? Do you know, Dan? Are they better looking, or
would you date one?
Would you date an emu?
No.
You wouldn't take one to dinner?
No.
Would you have one over for dinner?
Maybe, but my dogs might freak out and think it
I would have
taste
one
it.
for dinner.
Which means your dogs would have it for dinner.
I have.
Oh yeah, my little Chihuahuas would chase after it, and yeah.
I
see dogs again.
I have had an ostrich for dinner.
See, I thought your
Medium rare.
I thought your Chihuahua was actually a anorexic rat, and so I was interested to hear. I was wondering what that creature was on your Facebook page.
Chihuahuas are not dogs, by the way. They've proven that scientifically. They're actually aliens.
They are aliens. This is true. All right. Well, what do you think? Was this funny? I don't even remember what it was about.
The funniest part? No.
No,
I can't.
We ain't got nothing here. What did you think? What was funny about this?
Dan?
It was just, out of the ordinary to me,
So
nerd on the loose.
So you don't read much, do you?
Yes, I do. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, look, we always see these stories about, hey, there's a moose in the middle of the guy's swimming pool, or there's these stories to me, they're not particularly funny unless something funny happens. Like, okay, there's a bird running around, but did it win the lotto? That would be funny if it went into a convenience store and got a lottery ticket and then won. That to me would be funny.
Yeah, that would be awesome. I would love that. Yeah, why don't you go find that story? Find that story and
it's
bring
out
that
there,
back.
Dan.
You're not coming back on the radio until you find that story.
Oh.
Yeah, that was cruel. That was cruel. All right, well, listen, Dan, thanks for trying.
All right.
On a scale of 1 to
Thank
10,
you.
what do you give it, Kevin?
I give it a 5.
A 5? Okay.
Yeah.
Dan, on a scale of 1 to 10, what do you give it?
I'll say 5.
Wow.
5, okay.
He's
okay.
flunking himself.
Okay. All right, well.
What do you give it, Sigmund?
What do I give it?
Yeah.
Do you really want to know?
I'm afraid well, hey, I didn't come up with it. Yeah, I want to know.
I give it a 4.
You just did that to make a point. All right. We enjoyed being with you all today. Do want to remind everyone to check out my most recent article at Huffington Post, in which I talk about the fact that this election is going to be a referendum on GOP courage as much as it is on Democrat policy. Make sure you check that out. Just put in Kevin Price. Go to Huffington Post. Put in Kevin Price, and it'll be the top article, my most recent one. Hope you have a great day. I hope you spend it wisely. I hope you spend it right here.